All right, with NFL and pro camps getting ready, trying to pick up some different players. I'm going to be bringing on some different free agents by position over the next couple weeks. I'll be doing some offensive line. So this week I'd like to kick it off with a great offensive lineman. He's playing down there at the with the spring league. He's playing for the Aviators in the spring league right now. He's going to be starting tackle. He's a former Merrimack player. He just had his pro day this March. Was able to go and get his pro day because it was canceled last year due to the pandemic. Phenomenal, three-time All Pro, 6'3", 315 pounds, a Phil Steele All NEC, offensive lineman Erick Browne. Introduced to the Victory Formation podcast. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here, Matt.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the show and tell us a little bit about growing up in Boston, Massachusetts, and how did you start getting into the game of football?
Growing up in Boston was a good experience. It definitely wasn't one of those just easy, everything was given to you experiences. You got to learn a lot from family, community, and the best thing you could do was to go outside and be active and play with your family members, friends, or kids in the neighborhood. And in terms of the game of football, I got into it really in high school. It wasn't like it was something I just decided to pick up from like age 3. Um, I wanted to play because I liked the game and I wanted to play with my friends. But I changed schools before high school and moved to a Northeast powerhouse school. So for them, football was everything. Division 1 guys left and right, and it went from just being like a passion to more so understanding the big picture of where you can go with it.
So you started playing pretty young.
I didn't start playing the game until about 14, 15 years old, really.
And, and when did you play offensive line?
I started off on the offensive line as soon as I played. I actually liked tight end, but my at the time offensive line coach, Mike Milo, told me if I trust him and just go and play offensive line, I will have a scholarship somewhere by time graduation. So I trusted him, put a lot of work in, came in as kind of a late bloomer senior year, did well there, and had some opportunities to go and play some scholarship ball.
And did you first go to Merrimack, or how did you choose to go to Merrimack?
It was a very unique situation. There are very much so a good amount of schools interested at the FCS or FBS level, but there were some SAT things that was a little bit difficult. But also the relationship with at my college head coach Dan Kern was built strong from all of our recruiting talks, and he always let me know that if the opportunity was there, I could go there and start for 4 years and be a left tackle for the Warriors.
And was there any other colleges that tried to recruit you out of high school?
Um, all of the NE10 schools in the area, so for the D2 schools, and then a decent amount of the NEC schools in the area as well as some CAA schools, and UMass and UConn were the ones looking around a little bit.
And you played all 4 years over there, man. You got the start back in 2016, your rookie season, and you were an what was it, an All NEC Rookie of the Year. What positions did you start at? Were you on the outside on the line, or were you inside?
I was always a tackle, but I was a right tackle entering because there was a left tackle already. But for one quarter through the game, there was a shoulder injury to our left tackle, and I went to left tackle and never moved back. I just stayed there until I graduated, and
And you've
that
had
was
some good
it.
offensive linemen coming from that school too. I've seen some good offensive linemen come out of Merrimack for the last several years. Um, what do you think that you guys have such good success along the line over there? What do you can you attribute it to? Do you think it's good coaching, good recruiting, a little bit of everything?
It definitely has something to do with coaching, and I would say a lot of the time for most of the guys that have came out in the past 5 years has been a lot of self time and want to, and individuals really seeing themselves as offensive linemen at the next level, with guys either getting pro days at our school annually or countless amounts of not all conference guys, all region guys, teammates right now that are in the NFL on the offensive line and at other positions, respectfully. And we wanted to be the best unit and knew that if we put in the work, we can get an opportunity to play at that level, because it wouldn't be he lacked a certain size or he lacked ability or so on and so forth. Um, in hindsight, not knowing that there would be a pandemic will make the road a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
overall, there's definitely been, I would say, at least including myself, three three offensive linemen that are NFL guys.
Well, how old are you now?
Um, I'm only 24, still
Okay,
very
good.
young. Haven't had a
That's
chance.
good.
Didn't get to play last year, so fresh legs still.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you were able to stay healthy the whole time. I mean, you had 44 starts over there at Merrimack. You pretty much stayed healthy all 4 seasons.
Yes, I was able to stay healthy through having consistent workout regimen, trusting the strength staff, as well as keeping my body good, making sure you eat a solid amount of things, get your proteins in, get proper sleep, and as well as playing fast and playing hard, because a lot of injuries happen when guys take plays off or play the game half speed.
Yeah. And I mean, because of this last year with the pandemic and everything, obviously you weren't able to do the exact same things you would do on a normal year. How did you keep yourself in football shape during the pandemic with everything being enclosed in the Northeast? And I know the gyms were closed. There was a lot of stuff that was not able to do, obviously.
I was able to, while the gym was closed, through before the pandemic, the team of trainers I had at Exceed Fitness in Westboro, Mass, they allowed me to come in and train while they just make sure the place was kept clean and things were still running well until it opened back up again. But they're 100% responsible for the training part of me for the past year and a half, and I appreciate those guys more than they know.
And what is something you think you can take away from this last year with the COVID and everything? What was something you learned?
I've learned that you got to just be prepared for any and everything, and sometimes there are things that you don't even know are even possible and that you can't control, and that make sure that when your opportunity comes, you have to be ready. There can't be a learning process, getting broken in or getting your feet wet or breaking the rust off, because you never know if you'll get one. So you have to make sure you're ready. You stay ready. So if or when you do get that opportunity, you're at peak shape, peak performance, because in professional football, they're not gonna wait for you to get stronger, get faster, be mentally ready, be in shape to run a football practice or a game, to try to be, they expect you to come in to contribute and to have the confidence and the ability to be a starter if need be. So you have to
And
always work, bust your butt, and do what you have to do for that.
and what's some things that you do to keep your mentality straight?
I watch a ton of film. I make sure I work out on a consistent basis, challenge myself, and the physical and the mental aspects of not just football but everyday life, and watch film, not just myself but or teams, but of NFL film. You never know what team might want you. You never know what scheme you might have to adjust to or fit in, or position you might play, or if you want to change your like position or in the same position. You could also look at some of the things that some of the better or not so good players compared to league standards are doing, that you could either add to your game, or you could make sure you don't do the same thing.
Absolutely. And you had your pro day was canceled last season due to COVID, but you were able to go to the FCS game and the Tropical Bowl game. Uh, Tell me how that experience was and what you took away from there.
I took away from that some things that I already knew, but most reassuring it. One thing I would say for sure is there's never enough time to improve your game. There's always ways to improve your game, no matter if you're 20 or 40, no matter if you were a big D1 guy or a small school guy. And and if also if you believe you could play the game and you go out there and you play the game, then you can do it. You know, you got to have confidence. So because you could go in those games and be like, oh, I'm a small school guy, I can't perform, whatever the case may be. But if you go out there and you're confident in your ability and you know that your confidence can be backed up by your play, you're gonna play. You're gonna start. You're gonna ball out, and you're gonna get chances at the next level. And you can get there. And you're still confident. And you can still ball out. You just got the sky's the limit.
And were you able to talk to any teams there? Was any teams interested you from the NFL or CFL?
Oh, there were a decent amount of teams interested in me throughout the course of both games and all of last year, to the point that there were supposed to be two offensive line coaches at our pro day last year from Atlanta and Cincinnati, but the pro day got canceled, and it made things definitely a lot harder. Being a guy that was a small school guy that needed or that could have benefited from that last box to check at the pro day, because because all these about is a good amount about timing in terms of getting picked up and getting seen by teams and how that plays an effect, because you know there's some guys that came out this year and they were able to have a pro day on time and have scouts see them as college prospects and so on and so forth, and they're both great players and they're both on NFL teams, one on the east and one on the west, and I'm very much so happy for them. But I could see how having those things on time could be beneficial as opposed to being a free agent in the pool of not just your class but every other class behind you. And
There's a
you
couple.
could be a 20-year-old free agent with free agents that are 35 that have Pro Bowls and starts and NFL film and all those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, but you're fortunate enough to be in the offensive line group, and there's not that many quality offensive linemen in comparison to some other positions. If I look at like slot receiver, there's just tons. I mean, it's tough to get recognized as a slot receiver or a linebacker. There's a lot of linebackers. I think I had a linebacker on almost every show. uh, just trying to get them. And some really good linebackers too. I mean, these aren't, these are guys that were top of their whatever they were doing, whether it was Division 2 or FCS or whatever it was. They were at the top of it. They were the best at it. And you finally got to be able to do your pro day this year, and you had some good success. You had some good numbers, right? Was a 5 even 40. You had a 7.71 L drill, 30-inch vertical, put up 23 on the bench. Uh, what drill are you most proud of, and is there any area that you feel you could have done better?
I would say I'm most proud of the bench press because of I have longer arms. I've put some weight since last year, so I was able to show that I have strength and show teams that I've gotten bigger because I project to play inside of the NFL. So I wanted to show that I have the strength to last in those 65 to 80 play snap games. And one that I can feel like I could improve on a little bit more is always shuttles. You could always get fast throws. You could always be quicker side to side because that any drill there will translate the most of my game in the league.
And how did the spring league find out about you?
Um, I just was looking and I seen spring league, I knew a couple guys in it from before and that were there already, and they just said they liked my game, they seen my tape, and they wanted me to come out here and play if I wanted to. So I thought of it as a great opportunity because there are alternative leagues. You know what I mean, alternative outdoor leagues to be specific, but there really isn't any on this side of the world right now. So
Oh, it's tough
and this is the
here.
place where if you want to get back to the league, it's the best opportunity.
Looks like it. And the hub. Well, were you going out to that too, or you got to wait on that now?
I already did it. I did well in it.
Oh, you
There's a
didn't.
scouting report out on that as well.
Oh, good.
I felt like as well as the guys there did, I was one of the best in the hub show camp. Got eval based off of that and past film getting from these games today. But along with that and other NFL players that I know on the offensive and defensive lines and former NFL coaches and so on and so forth, they everyone thinks the same thing that I should be there, but just that's the question I ask is why a team just pull the trigger, you know, and show commitment. And I will show you more commitment than you'll even expect. You could ask my college coaches that were before in the league as well as that are scouts for the NFL, on terms of ESPN, so on and so forth. Any position coach in the past, my position coaches now for the Aviators, you know, I'm definitely an NFL offensive lineman. It's more so just I don't know if they're skipping the film or don't want to give me a chance, but I've shown every way possible that I could play. I could play outside. I did that. I could play inside. I did that. I've went against NFL off defensive linemen and I've dominated them. I started every game, so I've shown them durable, have good numbers in terms of testing, so I show I have an athlete. I've had to make calls for 4 years in college and still do to show my intelligence. And I don't like there's so many boxes you could check as a player. But team just says this is a guy, and I'm checking them all. If I haven't already, it's more so just a team needs to do their research and give either myself or my agent a call and say we're gonna bring you in because we game of football.
Well, sometimes it just takes a couple injuries or something. I mean, once they hit the camp, and like I said, it's not that deep on the offensive line. Other positions, it's a little politics, a little bit of this, but it all goes out to it always goes down the tube when they gotta sign people because they got injuries. You know, everything they try to do, or they try to bring in their guys or guys who've been in the NFL before, which is kind of ridiculous because you want to get guys to get that experience now in case you got to bring them back again. You know, just trying to get into some of these mini camps. And do you feel you're a better run blocker or a better pass blocker?
I feel that I'm a better pass blocker, but that's exactly why I had to show now that I've improved and I became a better run blocker, and that's always been the mantra with me. I've been a great pass blocker, can move my feet well, cover up guys, but showing that point of attack that I could dominate guys. I'm showing that more in the past year and then especially in these games that I can't just dominate guys and I could dominate guys on the inside. So you could put me anywhere on the offensive line and I'm gonna generate movement and I'm gonna be good at it. I could play anywhere on the offensive line. You
You're
need a
getting
guy to
some
play
more
somewhere, I
blocking,
could play there. I could adjust fast. It's not gonna have to take 6 days to do that.
and you're getting some more run
It's
blocking
an
work
easy
with
adjustment
the
for me.
Aviators. You're getting a lot of blocking work with the
Yes,
Aviators.
sir. Tons of it, and
Cool.
yes,
And you probably
tons
get a
of
lot
it,
of good
and
film as well.
I'm making
So you're playing tackle now?
and it's interior film. It's 11 on 11. Yes, I am. I'll be playing that for this week, and I'll see how it goes for next week. It's just whoever coach needs me, I'm there.
And what time's your game on? It's on Fox Sports, FS1.
It's on FS1 at 7 o'clock Eastern
Awesome.
time.
I'll have to check that out for sure. And I guess tell any NFL or pro GM, scouts, coaches, anybody that might hear this interview, why Erick Browne is a good fit for the organization.
I'm a fit for that organization, any organization, because I'm a big teammate. I bust my ass. I know my assignments. I'm a good person, and I could play football. And I understand how important it is to play football at the professional level. I could play football. I understand the game. I'm a student of the game, and I'm dominating pro players, and not just your run of the mill street guys, but pro players with very much so that are credentialed. I've went against those guys that are going to be top guys in the draft and in those first or mid rounds or mid or late rounds, and I've did it against them. I've did it against guys that are signed to multiple CFL and NFL contracts, and they believe the same thing I know. I could play this game and I should be there. And it's a mistake to have me for me to not have a job this long. And if you want to improve your organization, and have someone that could make sure if the culture is high to stay that high, if it's low to go high, I could help it. I could help with that from any role, as a starter, as a backup, and I'll bring to the building consistency, energy, toughness, and that camaraderie that every team looks for.
Perfect. Well said, man. And we'll definitely check you out on FS1 with the Aviators. And appreciate you coming on the show, man. I'll put your stuff up there. I'll try to link all your film up and everything with your interview. And, hopefully get a couple more looks. And, I think good things are coming for you this year, buddy. I really do. So just hang in there. I know we got it rough over
Thank,
here on the Northeast. It's taking a minute, but we're coming through. Things are opening back up, and we're gonna get opportunities here soon. So, where can we find you on social media, Erick?
you could find me on either Twitter or Instagram at BBOC_EB.
Appreciate it, Erick Browne, former Merrimack All Conference offensive lineman, playing for the Aviators Spring League. Thanks for coming on the Victory Formation podcast, man. Have a good night.
You too, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Erick.